And as I promised the audience, we've got 3 back-to-back feature briefings, and now they're all on edge computing, but they all come from different perspectives. So hopefully we have Ben with us. Ben, are you out there? How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Excellent. Great to see you, sir. Okay, so I'm going to cut back to my camera there. So tell us a little bit about the cloud perspective of edge computing. It's going to be a different perspective, I should imagine. I want to hear all about it.
Okay, so what we here to our presentation is about is a unique perspective for a edge cloud computing market in China, especially due to the 5G infrastructure building development in China, and then the IoT, big data, artificial intelligence. So in my presentation, I'm gonna go in more detail about that.
Brilliant, go for it. Let's have the presentation.
Hello everyone, thanks for being here with us today. My name is Ben Lu. I'm a senior system engineer from BaishanCloud North America. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to join Content Delivery Summit today to share the future briefing on CDN and edge computing. My presentation today will include an overview of the edge computing market in mainland China, as well as opportunities and challenges, advantages, and the key ways in which BaishanCloud may help you and your business. First, let me introduce BaishanCloud as a company. BaishanCloud is a global leading edge cloud platform service provider, offering neutral infrastructure, cloud-native security, developer service, and other products and services. Our company was founded in early 2015 to address the content delivery and acceleration needs of online enterprise customers. As an innovation-driven company, BaishanCloud dedicates roughly 70% of the workforce to the research and development team, and had filed more than 570 patents in different areas of content delivery. With more than 600 total staffs, BaishanCloud now has 7 offices and R&D centers, serving over 1,000 clients globally. BaishanCloud's network covers 6 continents with more than 600 points of presence worldwide. In recent years, in China and Southeast Asia region, the edge computing market has grown rapidly and entered the mainstream as organizations look to extend business with the cloud and take advantage of digitalization and the Internet of Things to further reduce latency and improve performance. So what is edge computing? By definition, edge computing is a part of distributed computing topology in which information process is located close to the edge. As CDNs has become more advanced, the technology have allowed code as well as storage to move outside the bound of the cloud data center, which enabled computing resource to emerge as a service in edge locations. So how do CDN vendors provide edge computing service to customers? One implementation is to provide serverless computing services. And what is a serverless computing? In short, serverless computing allows users to create and deploy code without direct contact with the underlying server. The CDN provider takes sole responsibility to the provision, scaling, and management. Customers can focus on only writing the code for their applications. On the next slide, we have seen the changing process from the traditional infrastructure as a service to function as a service. As you can see, each service outsources a different level of responsibility to the vendor, and each service provides a different level of abstraction and unit of scale. Function as a service is a serverless way to execute module piece of code on the edge. The customer needs to manage less and less things as we move from infrastructure as a service to function as a service. And eventually, at function as a service, customer only needs to focus on the function. With that being said, let us look closely at the edge computing market globally. The edge computing market has enormous potential and is growing rapidly. This chart shows the growth prediction of the edge computing industry in the near future. The global edge computing market size expected to grow from $3.6 billion in 2020 to $15.7 billion by 2025, with a 34.1% compound annual growth rate. As we will get into the following slides, applications with 5G technologies and the Internet of Things are speeding up the adoption of the edge computing. The interests in serverless service are particularly high in China. According to the survey from Cloud Native Industry Alliance, 16% surveyed enterprise already applied serverless computing service in essential business. 12% applied on non-essential business, 8% are running testing, and 11% is currently under researching and developing. To understand why Chinese enterprises so eagerly wanted to speed up the edge computing adoption process, we need to look at the Chinese internet market itself. According to CNIC, a national IT think tank, China had more than 989 million internet users by the end of 2020, accounting for approximately 70% of country's total population, whereas the figure only stood at 909 million a year ago. With the scale of the Chinese internet in mind, what are some of the driving factors of the rapid adoption of edge computing technology in Asia and China? First, let us look at 5G technology. Gartner predicts that 5G telecommunication technology, together with the mobile edge compute, will connect more devices, particularly in the consumer realm. As applications based on 5G technology proliferate, the demand for edge computing capacity will rise too. As you can see from this slide, 5G technology will provide much faster connection with a higher bandwidth and low latency compared to 4G networks. Now let's talk about 5G in China. As you can see in this chart, China is leading the world in 5G infrastructure deployment. China has built the world's largest 5G high-speed mobile network with 260 million mobile connections. While the speed of the 5G network is much faster, the increased network traffic in both individual and industrial scenarios will take the network traffic load to the next level. To take the huge load off the origin and the central network, it is critical that CDM provides a more advanced acceleration, load balancing, and storage capacity at the edge. Furthermore, the 5G and edge computing are closely correlated with each other. First, 5G high bandwidth or low latency delivery allows data generated from the edge to be delivered quickly. Second, thanks to the proximity between the edge computing nodes and the 5G device, the latency caused by data delivery and the computing are reduced to the minimum. Together, 5G and edge computing can bring latency down to the previously untenable levels, enable a new generation of application use cases. Together with the rapid development of 5G technology is the proliferation of the Internet of Things. According to China Telecom, in China, industries like energy, retail, transportation, and consumer electronics will drive the growth of IoT adoption, create a $361 billion USD market in 2020. Along with the growth was the multiplying and connectivity between the device and consoles. Based on the prediction from the Chinese Telecommunication Industry Association, the Chinese IoT device count will reach 22 billion in 2025. All these IoT devices generate a huge amount of data. Therefore, demand for storage and low latency computing will grow exponentially, placing challenge in performance and cost to the centralized cloud computing model. Hence, organizations will increasingly be looking for edge computing solutions, such as edge nodes, device, and hyper-localized data center. Above said, it is safe to say serverless computing is on the rise. But let's look closer. What are the specific benefits of serverless computing? Although serverless computing servers are still relatively new to enterprises customers in mainland China, there are many highlights and advantages for serverless computing, such as pay-as-you-go, scalable architecture, quick deployments and updates, latency reduction, and lightweight and easy deployment. It is obvious that there is a strong trend in adapting edge and serverless computing, especially in China. But what are some of the roadblocks in implementing the serverless computing service? Let us look at some of the challenges faced by the current state of the implementation. In our observation, some of the key challenges including but not limited to security, distributed users and complex network, cold starts, visualization, difficult to implement different vendors, not globally distributed, pricing complexity. Among those challenges, serverless computing is facing obstacles, especially in China region, for first, security, and second, distributed users and complex networks. For security, serverless requires new security frameworks as traditional security perimeters disappear. This is more so the case in China region, where cyber attacks are frequently and regulation is not as comprehensive compared with the rest of the world. Distributed users and complex networks. This is a unique challenge to China, where distributed population and fragmented ISP landscape with minimum peering hinder large-scale network deployment. In looking at all the challenges in the state of serverless development in China, we believe Baishan is naturally better positioned in solve those unique challenges. We will explain this in the following introduction of our serverless architecture, function at edge. First, our global edge network has over 500 plus points of presence in China, laying the infrastructure needed for bypass the routing chokehold and peering issues on the public internet. With robust network and cloud-native security incorporated, Baishan Global Edge Cloud Platform enables customers to run function at the edge, achieving fast response through requests and enable development, deployment, and management of application without building and maintaining IT infrastructure. In addition, BaishanCloud incorporates Secure Access Service Edge or SASE architecture to our serverless platform to counter the new security challenges resulted from the disappearance of traditional security perimeters. We build the technology with the best security minds in the industry. In 2019, Baishan acquired Shanghai Yundun, a top cloud security company in China, to enhance the security product feature in its edge cloud functions. So here we are. In conclusion, 5G and the increase of IoT device will drive the demand for the decentralized process servers in China. Therefore, demands for high computing capacity at the edge will also rise, as more applications require high bandwidth, low latency, and reliable connectivity. For BaishanCloud, we're leveraging our existing infrastructure advantages and R&D capacity to satisfy the increasing demand for edge computing in China. This also adheres to the company's long-term edge cloud strategy. Thank you so much for joining our talk today. If you would like to schedule a free consultation or free trial, or simply wanted to learn more about us, please check our website at BaishanCloud.com. Have a great rest of your day.
Ben, that was awesome. Listen, we had, I remember we had Angel on, one of your colleagues at the last Content Delivery Summit, and the numbers that you guys introduced to the sector are always staggering. I think, what was the number you gave there? The Chinese internet users grew by the entire UK population last year. That's just staggering, you know. And
absolutely right.
I don't know how you sustain the growth with that. You must be installing servers every second just to keep up, I should imagine. But listen, if there was one killer app or one killer driving thing that you thought would really drive edge computing, is there something that comes to mind? Is there some trend you've already seen that's really making edge compute happen for you guys? Is it serverless? Is it some sort of video technology? Is there something that your enterprise customers are asking for? Is there something in particular that you think will be the breakthrough for edge computing in the cloud?
Yes, I think it was actually the demand. So serverless is the solution to satisfy the demand, but the demand is the drive. So because there's so many internet users in China, and because the IoT big data is proliferating in China region, that the demand for a high processing capacity on the edge is growing more and more. So I think the combination of 5G and IoT will be the driving factor of the edge computing massive adoption in China soon in the future.
Amazing. And one other question for you. What you're an engineer, right? And what are the sort of skills that you are looking for from people to work in the edge compute environment with you? Are there particular technologies that you think people should be training with or should be learning to come and engage with the space?
Yes. So from my understanding, we soon enough we're gonna need a lot of artificial intelligence on the edge. So the ability to to develop the algorithm is credential, because to process that much of data on the edge, the AI must be involved.
Amazing. We've had a question in on the chat room, which is just going to take us perfectly up to time. So Indra's asked if you can provide any insights on whether the Chinese government may impose guidance on the growth of edge in China. Is it something that's catching the regulatory eyes? Is it something that's a challenge for you, or at the moment is it just broadly welcoming?
Yeah, they're just welcoming. I don't know any regulation has been placed yet. The only regulation is the ICP license, but that applies to all CDNs, not just the edge computing.
Yeah,
so I think yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point. I think it depends how you walk, doesn't it? I think that's the same in any territory. Brilliant, excellent. And I think we've actually got another minute, so I'm going to ask a further question. So outside of China and so on, what's the key growth drivers and key growth strategy that Baishan's sort of focusing on in North America and Europe and so on and so forth?
So as I mentioned before, I think China has more demand, but as far as the development, like the technology development, the U.S. and the Western are actually ahead of China region. So for us is actually to learn from our other enterprise that has already using edge computing technologies, already have a serverless platform, to understand how what the needs of the customer for those edge computing market is, and then to implement a better service in China region.
Perfect. A great balance, innovation, a territory where you can innovate and a territory where you can really monetize. That's fantastic. Listen, Ben, it's always a pleasure to have Baishan with us. It's great to be understanding where CDN and where cloud technologies are going in different parts of the world and in other regions and so on. So it's a real pleasure to have you with us again, and also to say thank you for sponsoring. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much, Don.
Not at all. We'll speak to you soon.